Hello everyone, this is Babamots. Welcome to some more Homeworlds commentary. This is between ktblu and Will, also known as hy2b1g3. Um, Katie has been playing since April of 2022, and Will has been playing much longer than that. Um, Will kind of goes up and down in how well they do. Will can be really, really strong on the best days, but also makes some pretty significant mistakes other times and loses games that way. Katie's style I know less about. I haven't played Katie very often myself. Um, I looked up their profile. They win about half their games, as I guess statistically everybody must. Um, but has a elo of 200 and so is kind of in the middle ground. This could go either way, I'm sure. Katie takes a green-blue fortress with yellow ship. Oh, and this is the reason I'm casting this is that this is the 4,000th game completed on Board Game Arena. And I think of these number-based game selections as being sort of a random sample of all of the games that take place on the site. Usually I select games that are between strong players or players that I think are pretty equally matched, even if they're sort of medium. I usually don't take the games between new players or players that I expect to be not so good. But in a randomly sampled game, we kind of get an idea of the health of the games in general, or at least I think. What's the everyday Homeworlds player doing? All right, and Will takes a yellow banker. Katie did a second build to start, but Will trades for blue right away, matching the small blue star. Katie takes the other blue, opening up the mediums. So no huge mistakes yet. Will spreading out the blues. Katie has the large yellow right. I mean, from the first move, so uh, that could potentially be sacrificed to knock out Will's blue star if Will doesn't keep the population down. Not that that's necessarily a good thing for Katie. Usually, when you lose your initial large ship that early, um, just to knock out a star, it's not enough for the victory. The material loss is too much. But Will spreads out anyway, which is probably best. Oddly, Will going to a yellow star, I guess I should point out. I If I go to a yellow star first, it's usually because there's a different size star that I want to occupy. And usually because it's usually because I'm not connected to large stars and I want to move to a yellow smaller medium so that I can go occupy a large star. Um, because as it is, that blue can't do any more building. Will I, there are some players I know a lot more about their playstyle than others, and I have played Will often enough to think of them as somebody who does a lot of odd things with the color blue. Yeah, Will getting in Katie's face, also fairly typical Will thing, but since Will doesn't have any red, it may not do them any good. Building a blue here. Okay. Interesting. I didn't think this was going to work out so well, but if Katie sacrifices that little, if Will commits to this, and Katie sacrifices the little red to capture, say, the medium blue, Will doesn't merely build another blue to overpopulate. Will, and in fact, I just did something very similar, but in red instead of blue. Um, Sacrifices the G3. Well, I guess it does actually. Okay, never mind. It doesn't matter so much since Will's got a blue star. They can't build two large blues at home. In my game, I built two large reds in my home, and my opponent is not looking good right now. But I was going to say sacrifice the G3, build a large blue here, and build a large blue at home, but that's actually not that good. You'd rather have the green. It comes out pretty even. You know, so Katie really reinforcing that position with the little yellow. That seems a little odd. If Will were to trade that medium blue for a red, no, oh, geez, what am I thinking? Will doesn't want to get anything other than blue or maybe yellow here because Will wants to be able to, I would say, Will wants to be able to overpopulate anything that Katie might choose to capture. So yeah, I gotta stick with blue here. But having done this, having plugged up Katie's chances for building blue, and moving that blue out earlier did give Will a little bit of blue room. They can build that B3. So Katie could knock out Will's blue home star, but they lose their mothership to do it, which isn't so good. And now they spread out their blue. But now Will, I'm sure, will trade a blue back into the bank, keeping the larges out of Katie's hands, and probably getting a red. Let's say trade the B1 for R1s, most likely. Oh, or sacrifice the B2. Wow, really plugging up the blue bank. Preparing to capture that medium blue if it comes into their homeworld, making it so they no longer have a blue overpopulation threat at home. Yeah, that's a pretty good move for Will here. They may lose their yellow, though. Oh, Katie not looking to capture that. Just pushing forward. Okay. Yeah, great great opening from Will. I can't remember the other multiple of 1,000 games I've casted very well, but I think this might be one of the stronger ones. Probably the strongest. Okay, yeah, Will getting into green. Building a green, Katie doesn't have any, so that seems strong. Builds blue and Simori. Okay, trying to put a little blue pressure on Will's home. Will might trade that for another color or move the blue to a new system. No, just pushing ahead with the greens. If Katie wants, they could move these blues in one at a time. Will would have to come up with something. Katie building some more yellow. Will can build medium now, but so can Katie. No, Katie not gonna build that medium yellow. Spreading out first. Interesting. Okay. Will now, I think Will doesn't like the blue pressure here. And Katie is a little better set up to build yellow than Will is. And Will wants to take that Y3 out of the bank so that Katie doesn't have... I sort of think of it as I've never used this expression out loud, at least before, but I think of the larges that are behind lots of stuff as the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. If you can just get past if you follow the rainbow, I don't know what this means, and get past all of the smaller stuff, then you get the larges. So Katie's moving the gold, or no, Will is removing the pot of gold by turning it into stars. Okay. Now, Katie's down that large ship, but Katie has decent compensation in terms of yellow and other smaller ships. Yeah, Will being a nuisance takes care of that other Alright, takes care of that other large yellow. Katie now trading blue for green. That matches the star, which is a little spooky. Blue is a pretty healthy color to be building in. I'm a little surprised they traded it away. I would have thought that moving it somewhere else would be better, but you know, having a G2 is good defense against if Will decided to get aggressive with their B3. Then having a G2 and a B1 means you can sacrifice the G2, build 2 blues, and overpopulate the invaders. So that's one possible reason why they'd want that in the future. Okay, building G2. Yeah, that gives Will a factory now. Katie builds more blue. Yeah, spread that blue out and keep going. Yeah, if Katie spreads out the blue, they can build blue better than Will can. Will can build 2 ships at a time, soon anyway, by sacrificing G3. The first time they do this, they'd have to build the G2 over here and then build the G3 back at home and then build one other place. Like the blue. Of course, having 3 greens in Fost means Katie could potentially overpopulate them, but I don't think it'd be worth it. 2 mediums for things that Will can rebuild more easily. Okay, Will getting the big blues out of the bank now. Huh. Well, okay. Yeah. With 2 blues, Katie comes into Will's home, and Will can capture one of these, but Katie can still sacrifice the G2 to build another blue and overpopulate Will's blue star. Will could do a few funny things. Maybe just one funny thing. Will could try to get those blues out of the bank. Sacrifice G2 to build both of the blues in Europe. Or they could sacrifice Y2 to discover both of these blues as new stars. You know, and if one of the if the R1 is the ship that discovers the B3 star, then Katie doesn't even have anything they can capture in Will's home. So a couple of ways to defend it, but Katie is also spending quite a bit on this this invasion, so maybe it makes sense to just let it happen. Will was thinking about the green sacrifice for the builds. The trouble is that Katie blows this up pretty cheaply, just moving the Y1, the B1 over, although then Will gets to capture the B2, so that's some recompense. Let's see if Will commits to this. They do. This is, if I had to guess, I'd say this is better than the Y2 sacrifice to discover those blues as stars. Hastily occupying stars that you may not be well prepared to defend is often not a good idea. Yeah, so Will loses a fair amount there, but so does Katie. Yeah, Will gets the capture. And Katie doesn't have a whole lot left. Oh, they had the G2 though, so they get to build that Y3, that star that went back into the bank. Yep. Okay. Well, tables have turned, and I think Katie's got the upper hand now. I'm surprised that I thought that invasion was not quite good enough to have this good a result, but here we are. Okay, we'll really cleaning up the greens now. I think Katie needs to go on the offensive while Will doesn't have adequate red. Looking at the economic game, trading for blue. Katie is completely out of blue, so maybe that makes sense. Yeah, stocking up on red, and then get aggressive. Use that large ship you've got to start punishing Will's weaker colonies. And by weaker colonies, I mean all of them. Yeah, this is good. That's good from Katie. I like that. Okay, the green teleport with a spare blue build. Okay. That's probably about as good as Will can do. But now Katie can invade the Bleb system, and Will's got to run away, and then Katie can invade the Fost system. Okay, Will spreading out the blue. I think Kate. Yeah, there are larges for Will to get at the end of the blue rainbow, if that's a thing now. If so, Will would want to make it a factory build rather than a blue shopping spree. To explain slightly, so if Will sacrifices the G3 and leaves that G3 in the bank in order to build all three of the blues, so a medium in Fost, a large in Fost, and a large blue, they'd clean out the blue bank, but they would leave that G3 in the bank for Katie to build. And that's less good, I think, than sacrificing and rebuilding the G3 for a B2 and a B3, leaving the B3 in the bank, but Katie doesn't have any blue yet, so Katie doesn't get to build it. Let's see what Katie does about it. Just not sure what good moving to a large red does. They commit to it. No, I don't know what that's about. Oh, that puts the little blue back in the bank that Will have to build to get at the larges. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Katie, you're pretty good. Yeah, so Will builds the two blues that were readily available. Larges are up for grabs again. Okay. Katie thinks it's go time. Katie's not going to be able to knock out that blue star though. Katie can only get the yellow. No, Katie, your material advantage, I maintain, is better suited to invading colonies and trying to capture some of that blue away from Will, so that you've got some blue so that you can finish the job. This is going to be a lot of material put into just destroying one star. Halfway to winning the game, not all the way. This is not good. Yeah, Will completely ignores it. Katie could, you know what? Because Will. Okay, I think the invasion here is may actually be pretty good, but for the wrong reasons. Well, not quite. Okay, so my next idea is Katie sacrifices their R1 to capture Will's only red ship. If Will then, well, no, okay, if Will traded, say, a G2 for R2, then Will can just capture things back and is really pretty good. Uh, in a different world, Katie could take Will's only red and then capture one of their blues, and then threaten to sacrifice and build that blue into overpopulating some of Will's other star or something. But I don't think we can go there. Will's got too many ways to trade for red in the colony or even at home and make that work. Oh, Katie thought of it, but Katie worked out that it doesn't happen. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, that's another issue we've got going on here. Is that Will's mothership was green. Katie only had one green ship, but it was available for the overpopulation. Will isn't going to have a mothership now. But Katie also, in doing that, gave up their. I always want to say sacrifice, like in chess, when you allow a piece to be taken or destroyed. But it has the word sacrifice has special meaning in this game, so it's not a sacrifice. It was a spent. Katie lost their only green in order to do that, so they can't build their way into a yellow overpopulation. If they want the yellow overpopulation, they'll have to move in the Y3. This is a good game. So Will may need to. So Katie can get their Y3 in here without overpopulating if they sacrifice the Y1 to move it in. Will can get their B3 into their homeworld without overpopulating the blues if they sacrifice a Y2 to move in the B3 and move one of the smaller blues out. What a weird game. I don't know what happens here. Okay, Will trades for R2. I think Will might not be as worried as they should be about that large coming in. Spreading out the greens. And occupying that medium yellow star. I don't think that's really what Will wants here. Since Katie doesn't have the green, a green ship in order to build anything in Will's home, I think Will might be better off leaving that medium yellow in the bank so that they can trade, so that Will can trade for it. To blow up some of the invaders and their own yellow star if things get desperate enough. Okay, so now Katie sacrifices to capture that red. Well, thinking about it anyhow. I think it's pretty good. If Will trades for some red someplace now. No, really? Okay. Come on, Will. Well, Will doesn't strictly need red, since Will doesn't have anything left for Katie to capture. Until Katie comes in with a big yellow. Yeah, Katie, I think my pick for you now is sacrifice the little yellow. Well, maybe not. To move in the Y3, Will then has sacrifice Y2 to overpopulate those yellows, and Will is not looking healthy. but probably healthier. Trading for green. Uh, Katie's presence in Will's home might be more healthy than Will's own at this point. Things were looking good for Katie's invasion for a while, but I think they've sacrificed things too many times in order to try to keep it going. Uh, when Katie had the large ship advantage, I think they should have used that instead of trying to press this invasion so hard. Because at this point, Will's got a mothership back. It's just not at home. And has lots of other ships, just no red. Sacrificing B2. Two trades to red, maybe? Building that B3. Boy, this invasion is really something. I think Will's going to want to trade that for an R3 and capture everything before too long here. Okay, I should have left it on that. What does happen if Katie comes in with the Y3? Will doesn't have... Like, Will's got the defense for it. He hasn't got enough ships at home or anything. I think Katie coming in with the Y3 was okay. Well, okay, I guess Will... if Katie went in with the Y3, Will sacrifices Y2 to bring the little yellow home to blow him up along with his own star. I guess that's sort of okay. All the blues are out of the bank now, so it's pretty safe to have 3 blues at home. Boy, I wish Will would get some red. This is making me so nervous. Katie thinking about capturing that medium. Yeah, this is... Oh, man, what a thing. Oh, yeah, this is a great game. I can't keep up with this. Trying to work this out on the fly is too tough. Moving into Y3. Yeah, I think Will's only defense here is to sacrifice the Y2. Blow them all up along with his own star. Yep. Okay, so now there is a B3 in the bank that would be Will's doom if it were anywhere that Katie could get their hands on it, but they can't. Yeah, Katie can capture the 1 blue, but nothing to keep Will from discovering. I don't think it would have hurt Will actually to just build that B3 and Jupple, or Fost for that matter. To blow it up, Katie would have to sacrifice their mothership, and while technically they could recall one of their ships to their home, Katie would be way far behind at that point. Okay. Trading for some yellow is Will. Oh, come now. Katie looking around for the right thing. Settles on building a little yellow. I think Katie should be working on getting ships out of Will's home because Will's going to trade for red and start gobbling everything up. Yeah, there's the, yeah, very importantly, not trading one of their blues for red. That would put the blue back in the bank for Katie to build. Trading the green. Sacrificing your mothership to recall 3. I don't like that. Without a mothership, you're in big trouble. I think Katie should sacrifice the Y1 instead. Just save the little red. I mean, Katie's in really big trouble. Anyway, you slice it. Well, I guess that's something. What Katie could try to build so much stuff here that whatever Will captures, Katie can overpopulate. I don't think there's quite enough to do that with, though. Just saving the blue. I mean, Katie definitely wants to keep the blue pressure on to the extent possible. But Will has enough other things that there's no reason for Will to ever let Katie get a blue ship again. I think Katie's got this or Will has this pretty comfortably. Will gobbles up the rest. Oh boy, I thought Will had this, then I thought Katie had it, and now Will I think has quite certainly got this, barring a significant mistake. Yeah, Katie doesn't have any green, so it's safe for Will to put a blue back in the bank for the moment. Actually, it might have been a good idea for Katie to trade Y3 for B3 here instead of building that little red. Will could move in a blue ships one at a time to overpopulate, but Katie could, yeah, gosh, I think Katie might actually be missing a win here. If Katie trades, so pretend that red's not here. If they trade this for the blue, say Will moves a B2 into Katie's home, trying to overpopulate. Katie moves that B3 into Will's home. Oh, Will can just trade for another color. Well, no, not so much. If Will trades for red, Katie captures it. Will doesn't have any yellow. Oh gosh, okay, I think I'm quite curious if this is actually a win for Katie. Let's see what Will does in lieu of having to defend against Katie having a large blue. Will sacrifices the G3, factory build, perfectly healthy. Katie builds R2. Will gets an R2, so there's not even a danger of Katie coming in with 2 of anything that Will can't capture both of. Will gets more red. Katie now takes that blue. Will doesn't have enough doesn't have yellow to invade 2 at once here. But Will does have, but yellow was available for Will to trade to this time. So Will trades out for the yellow. Katie takes a little yellow, but I think Katie might be about to lose their everything. Pretty much no matter what they do. Yeah, okay, so I predict Will sacrifices Y3, moves 2 blues into... Oh, no, these aren't... Did I keep saying... I probably did. I think I kept saying that the the large... I think I proposed earlier that Will could move one of these blues into Katie's home directly, but that's not the case. They're not connected, because that's how Homeworlds works. But we're getting pretty close to the end here. I think red shopping spree. Katie can't build blue. Katie can't build green, even though those were the colors that she'd really like to be building since the larges are available. Katie trades red for yellow, maybe. Oh, Katie doesn't. No, I've been going too fast. There was a blue at a green system that Katie could build, but Katie hasn't got the yellow to move those things in quickly enough to win. Katie reinforcing that colony. Will trading for a Y3. Katie getting more red. So the... Okay, I've been going through this pretty fast because I'm really expecting Will to start mounting up their win any second now, but but Will's just not doing it. Maybe they didn't quite have enough until now, but certainly okay. So Katie just finished their turn. Will at this point should absolutely win. Sacrifice the Y3 to move Y3 direct into Katie's home. I thought this game was so darn over that I didn't even bother to comment on this, but the homeworlds are now connected. I did spot that. And use the other two motions to move red 3 into Katie's home. Katie can capture one of them, but not both. Will then sacrifices R3 to capture back the large that Katie just captured and capture Katie's large and one other thing, maybe another red. And now Will's got overpowering force in Katie's home, and Will should win pretty promptly. But Will maybe not seeing it? Or maybe they do. Okay, Will does see it. All right, good. Not that I'm rooting for Will necessarily, but I am glad that Will saw it because we like to see best play here. So Katie captures 1, Will captures 3 things back, and Katie sacrifices Y2 to try to make this look as good as possible, moving 2 blues into Will's home, but Will can sacrifice R3 to capture the rest of Katie's defending forces and even one of the invaders. Okay, well, boy, that was quite a game. I enjoyed that a lot. Tricky one to analyze properly, just as I'm watching it live, watching it unfold before my eyes. Game number 4000, folks. A game not selected in the least for its quality turned out to be really good. I think Katie pushed that invasion too hard. I think they should have used their material advantage to harass colonies instead. That was, to my mind, the biggest error of the game. That Katie just kept investing and investing, using more and more of their material to keep up the invasion till Will had the upper hand. And a blue monopoly. All right, well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.